The MindSide, Ep.8, featuring Caleb Joyner. A conversation about the mental side of disc golf. Caleb Joyner is brought to you by Lone Star Discs, Iron Turtle Disc Golf. Welcome to the MindSide.
I made it.
Caleb Joyner. All right, we got Washington State local from
Yakima, Washington.
Okay, perfect. All right, did that from memory. I didn't stat man to this thing, but yeah. So, what? You are up and coming. You've been playing for how many years?
I'd say for realsies, maybe like 3, 4, 5.
Okay.
Like I started in junior high, but I thought disc golf wasn't that cool back then.
Yeah.
But then I got really good all of a sudden. I was like, oh, this is pretty fun now.
Yeah, because as soon as I met you, you were already pretty dang good.
Yeah, thank you.
Yep. And you're making the rounds. Yakima is Eastern Washington-ish. So
Yeah.
I've seen you east. I've seen you Idaho. Have you
Yeah,
been to Montana?
I basically go a lot over to the west side to play because of the PAC-X events.
Sure.
Nice, those were all like clumped into one thing. I'm like, all right, I can do this. And I think my farthest drive was maybe 4 hours, but
Oh, okay.
I wasn't too worried about it. And where I live, I have to drive farther to go to bigger tournaments. So, and that's part of the dream, I guess, is I want to be in a van going to bigger and better tournaments. So, I've been practicing for a while.
Yeah, and that's what I see. I see you practicing, and that's exactly what you were doing right before you jumped on. You were out there putting, right?
Yeah, sometimes I don't call it practicing because people ask like, "Oh, what do you like to do for fun, Caleb?" And I'm like, "Well, I won't say disc golf. I mean, granted, I do it for fun, but I always say I like to putt." And they're like, "That makes no sense. That's playing disc golf." I'm like, "No, putting in a backyard or putting with friends is a whole different game, and it's not as stressful. I don't gotta throw super hard. It's just make putts." But I definitely was putting a couple hundred before I came here. I wanted to get my mind right.
There you go. Perfect. Perfect. So, speaking of getting your mind right, so the mental side of disc golf. What is the mental side of disc golf to you?
From the moment like you're driving to the tournament round or the tournament, from when I'm done is the mental side of disc golf to me. It's everything in between, like the hotel and the course or warming up, middle of the round. Like I feel like disc golf is super mental, which blows my mind because having autism, I'm a little slow, but man, when it comes to disc golf, I know what's up. But and I think mental side of disc golf is different for everybody because we're all very different. Like some people like to get jacked up and like super excited and loud. Some like to be quiet and straight up robot killing machine.
Mm-hmm.
I like to be more on the fun side.
Yep. Keeping it light, making it easy. Yeah, for sure. So, when it comes to keeping it light, if you're in a tournament round and let's say you start off hot and it's easy, seems easy, and then you start hitting trees, you maybe hit a tree, maybe not a big deal, get a little frustrated, maybe hit a second tree, maybe hit a third tree,
It
and
happens.
then eventually, whatever happens, the wheels kind of start to fall off.
Mm-hmm.
Do you ever find yourself kind of going down those darker roads, I guess, mentally in around? And if so, how do you counteract those?
I don't think like I'm ever like when I think of someone being mad, like they're absolutely frustrated with this one thing, and like whenever I hit a tree or something bad goes, like if I bogey the first hole, I just say, well, there's 17 more birdies out there to get, and I'm not saying that in a cocky way. I'm just reminding myself, oh well, I might have bogeyed this, but if I birdie the next 17, that'd be pretty cool. Right?
For sure. There's always a way to flip it around to the positive.
Yeah, but yeah, like I feel everyone gets frustrated with themselves or the trees, wind, whatever you're putting. But I think where it comes down to like different for each person is some people like get really upset and like maybe not yell, but you know what I mean? Like they're
Maybe yell.
shouting, I guess, or like making it worse for everyone else when in reality we are people throwing plastic frisbees into a metal basket. Like there's a lot worse we could be doing is what I look at. Like I'd much rather be playing disc golf.
Yeah, definitely. And so I guess it could be the same answer, but when you're riding high, how do you keep it high?
I try to like granted, like, if we're competing, like I don't want to be distracting. But like, talking to your other card mates, especially like a backup or something, like, oh, that's a cool putter. What is that called? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Just small talk, pass
Sure.
the time. Because, like, for me, I am focused on what I'm doing, but it's nice to not be constantly just thinking, like, all right, I got to think about this drive for the next 8 minutes because we're waiting for the people in front of us. Like,
Mhm.
I'd rather just think about it when it's closer time to throwing it. But just talking, keeping it light, not being a jerk helps too.
Yep, for
That's my
sure.
honest opinion about that.
Mhm.
But
Yeah,
also encourage your card mates is a good thing too.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, anything you can do to bring out the positivity.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep, definitely. When you have I guess every shot will fall under this, but your have to make shot. Let's say, the when the pressure's on, every shot's a have to make, but
Yeah,
last
yeah.
last putt of the tournament. You're at a big tournament, this putt's worth, 300 some bucks. You got to make this putt. What do you rely on in those situations when the stakes are high and the emotions are high and the outside thoughts are flying? What do you rely on in those moments to rise above?
It's a pretty good question. And a lot of my friends ask me like, what do you think about when you're putting? Like if it matters or not. Just like what are you thinking about? And like I used to skateboard a lot before I played disc golf. And
Mm-hmm.
like I don't know, when you're in the middle of the air doing a trick, I feel like there's just nothing there, if that makes sense, at least mentally. Like, you've done this 8 million times, or you know what I mean, a whole bunch of times over and over again. What's different about it? But I always just tell my buddies, like, I'm not really thinking at all. It's just another putt. Like, if I start thinking about it, then it's not just a putt anymore.
Yeah, relying on practice, relying on your
Yeah,
muscle memory.
and I'm not saying like be a robot or whatever, but it
Yeah,
helps just to turn off your mind for that 3 seconds and just let it go. And if you have practiced enough and know like how your release is, you're gonna know if it's going in or not most of the time.
yeah, that's a very good point. That 3 seconds or that under 30 seconds that you get per
Yeah,
shot,
yeah.
right?
Because I see people and I'm like, man, if I stood there that long, I would have missed it 15 seconds ago. Or like, it's just that moment where I'm not thinking about anything. It's just mindlessly putting with intent is what I call it. Right?
Yeah, definitely. And that's, yeah, focus, just complete intent and
Yeah.
focus. Yeah, definitely.
And basically, like a putt like that, down to the wire, all the money in the world. Like I still picture myself in my garage or in my backyard, just mine constantly putting. I'm like,
Hmm.
all right, it's the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. But that is a good point that you said that 3 seconds,
Yeah, yeah,
because all you really need to execute a shot is a few seconds of complete focus, right?
yeah,
And
yeah. There's
everything in
nothing else to think
between,
about.
yeah, and everything in between is just kind of hanging out, right? So you're just kind of managing that hangout time and then being able to bring it all together at those times when you have to focus before you make those shots.
Mhm.
And if you're throwing, you know, I don't know, that's not many minutes worth of focus time.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, that's what's always intriguing to me is there are so many ways that you can come at it, and there are so many things that can come at you that can boost focus and boost confidence. And there are so many things in around distractions, you know, downers on the card.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Spit out. Like,
The what?
the spit outs.
Oh yeah, for
What
sure,
it is.
for sure. And it's, you know, it's all the same, and you can manage those things in different ways. Is there anything that you do consciously to, other than practice? Because that's the big one, really. You know, everybody's going to rely on their skill because that's what we're out here doing. That's why we're putting the time in.
Yeah, yeah.
But is there anything, I don't know, so like anything that you do for your mind?
Man, I mean, I like listening to music.
Sure.
That's maybe more to get myself just into the mood.
Hmm.
I'm tired, but if I listen to some dancing music, I'm like, okay, I'm not tired anymore.
Sure. Yeah, get you
But
moving.
I don't know. I try to always find not super long time, but like at least 5, 10 minutes to myself before a round, like a tournament round. I'm
Hmm.
not doing this going to play with my buddies during the week or whatever, but like
Sure.
find myself a time where I'm absolutely thinking about nothing but what I have to go and do.
Hmm.
Playing hole one and putting out on 18. It's the only thing that's on the mind for that 10 minutes. Like, I might not be in the parking lot talking to everybody or practicing. I'm just sitting there with myself, kind of, I don't know, just keeping the peace. Like, all right, I'm here to disc golf.
Yeah, little meditation, little
Yeah, yeah.
time prior. Yeah, definitely. Little lock in. It sounds like you just kind of go out and just do it. You know.
Kind of what I was taught, or at
Yeah.
least what I
It's frisbee. Don't worry about it.
basically, like,
Right.
I've been, like, as a skateboarder, I looked up to the older, better kids at the skate park because I wanted to be like them. So
Hmm.
with disc golf, it just was like, oh, like this Crabtree guy, Kenny Clark, like these guys. I'm like, all right, I kind of want to be like them.
Sure.
Maybe I can learn something from them. And basically, I just gain as much information as I can from anybody. Like it doesn't have to be Paul Macbeth. It could be my buddy Andy. He's like, Caleb, I had an epiphany. I know how to throw a grenade shot now. And I'm like, teach me your ways. Let me know.
Sure. Well, and the names you mentioned before, Kenny Clark and Kyle Crabtree, those guys are pretty dang good.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, and knowledge is key, right? The more you have, the more you can expand your horizons and your viewpoint.
Normally, the older person's wiser. And
Yeah.
grabbers and skinny are getting up there.
Yeah, they really are. Yeah, they're about to come up into masters. Yeah. Um, so what are your goals in disc golf?
Honestly, at first, like, when I realized there's like dubs in like league like in Yakima, it blew my mind. I was like, oh, I can go get pizza money this Saturday. That's sick.
Mm-hmm.
But that's all it was. I was like, I can make some pizza money,
Mm-hmm.
and then like I watched, it was Kyle Crabtree came to my hometown and played a tournament, and like I only knew his name because at that time he was, I don't know, top something in the world, and like I thought the dude was a robot when I met him,
Mm-hmm.
and he was super cool. But I watched him play, and I was like, whoa, this guy made whatever $100,000 just to play disc golf this weekend. What? And then from there it was going over. I'm like, all right, I'm going to putt nonstop, throw nonstop.
Mm-hmm.
And I've definitely kept that with the putting. Throwing, you got to stop every now and then because you get sore and
Mm-hmm.
it gets cold outside. But my goals are basically I've been trying to get to 1,000 rated at least. I feel like that's most pros' goal. Like
Mm-hmm.
get those 4 digits, but I I want to. Oh man, my teacher said I'd live in a van down by the river, and I asked if there was a disc golf course by this river. But I want to get a van and tour. That's what I want to do, basically.
Yeah. Yeah. Perfect. And getting to that 4-digit number makes it easier to get in.
Yeah.
For sure. But yeah, the rating will rise. You just keep putting in the work. It's just a byproduct of improvement.
Yeah, and it's been crazy to watch it go up recently because I was hanging out with this guy learning all this stuff about disc golf, and I got really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
And like stopped hanging out. I started not. I'm not saying I'm sucking it up, but like I'm not playing at my best because I'm not hanging with the best. You know
Sure.
what I mean? Like you, the whole reason I started playing open was because I wanted to play with people better than me, so I
Sure.
can learn.
Yeah.
But then I started hanging out with Kenny and playing these games of putt. We have this game called Seven. I joke, I just call it make 7 putts before Kenny. But
Good luck.
and it would go on forever. Like holy smokes! Like I'm thinking this is gonna be like 15 minutes, and like look down at my phone. It's 2 hours later, and we're still playing the same game. And I'm like, holy smokes! But yeah, that dude's taught me a lot this year. And then the second half of my season this year, I was like, whoa! Like, and it wasn't like, hey Caleb, this is how you throw a 5 million foot sidearm. It was, hey, what are you thinking about when you're throwing a shot? Or it was more mental things. Like, what do you think about when you're putting? Well, trying to put it in. And he's like, you got, there's still a couple more things to think about. And he really opened my eyes to, there is a mental part of disc golf. It's not all robot and muscle memory.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the robot and muscle memory is there, but it comes from that focus, most definitely, and knowing what to focus on. And yeah, listen to Kenny. What are do you remember any of the things maybe specifically that you guys talked about that helped you improve or
Well, so he's really good at spin putting.
mm-hmm.
I'm I am okay at the way I putt, but I don't like spin putting at all.
Mm-hmm.
It's scary. Like I don't try to miss ever, but when I miss with my putt, it's not super far away. That's the only thing I have, or only argument I have to more like a push putt and spin putt is you don't got the same comebacker.
Mm-hmm.
But we were joking around. He's like, you can't anti putt, can you, Caleb? I'm like, with a tree in the way, for sure not. Maybe in the open. And he's like, and now I do this every time I go up to an anti putt for fun or in a tournament. There's no way I can miss it right. It was just those simple words he said are like burned into my brain. When I have an anti putt around a tree, it's like, yeah, there is no way I can miss it right. So might as well aim right as much as I can.
Mm-hmm.
But just little stuff like that. Like, don't think too hard. That's another one.
Mm-hmm.
But nothing too crazy.
Sure, it's more like shot specific and things to.
Yeah. And like a lot of times, it's like we're joking with each other, and I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm not the greatest at it, but I might have to practice that more.
Yeah. Well, and that's good too, to show you your weaknesses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But just constant putting games and talking about the mental side of disc golf. That's why I'm like, man, Kenny might be a good guest for this because he was talking to me about like how like some of those guys are doing lessons.
Mm-hmm.
Kenny wants to do that, but not like, okay, I'm gonna show you how to disc golf. I'm gonna show you how to think.
Oh, for sure.
Disc golfing. I'm like, dude, sign me up. I'm down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's not a bad idea. Yeah, and that's Well, I reached out to Kenny, and he said he was shy, so we'll see what he wants.
I'll talk him into it.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. But kind of getting into that kind of same mentality, I just gave a lesson not long ago, like a week ago, not long ago. Like it was back in the past. And yeah, he was a young kid, played baseball, hurt his shoulder, could be super good, but just was missing a few things. And I saw the potential. And a lot of times I'm looking for, quick fix, get someone's mind excited. But it was kind of like, I'm going to knock this kid off his pedestal and get him thinking right. So I was just throwing concepts at him and getting him to get his own body into those spots. And it was a different type of lesson I'd given, but kind of similar. You mentioned how you want to get your rating over 1,000. Do you ever find yourself worrying about that?
Honestly, at the end of the day, I'm happy just to be disc golfing.
Mm-hmm.
That's like the straightest answer I guess I can give, but like it is just a number.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and I guess where I'm coming from is I've had talks with my son, and he's right there too. He's to get up to 1,000, and he just can't break through. And I think he's thinking too much about it. And I know that when I was there, I was kind of thinking too much about it. And maybe there would be
about Boston, right?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I was like, Saul?
Oh no, not Boston.
Yeah.
No, I can't get Saul to go out and play every now and then, but yeah, he used to tear it up. It's so silly,
dude. Ball golf TV,
right? But
I definitely think you could think too hard once you're that close.
Yeah,
like
because
if you think about it, at least normally where I play on where I live, like the rating was points different stroke differential is normally 10 a stroke. So like when I think about it, sitting at 982 or whatever, that's 2 strokes. Yep. Like two better throws, 2 more putts go in, which is like almost mind-boggling sometimes. Like at the most or at the least, you're playing 36 holes. Where are those 2 strokes within those 36 holes? Well, that's what practice is for.
Yeah, there you go. Well, and that's a good way to look at it. You can use it to your advantage that way. Definitely, because it is only 2 to 3 strokes,
and it's always so different depending on the day. Is the course super easy or is the course super hard? But most of the time, I'm not trying to think about it that much. Like out of the South Sound Classic, I think I was slotted rating wise to take, I don't know, 18th or something like that, and I won it. So I really believe rating's just a number. It's
Oh,
just
for
a
sure.
number that looks better when it's 1,000 when you're trying to go to that next step, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and most people who are in that 980 and up range, they've got the skill of and the shots of 1,000 rated player.
Yeah, yeah.
There's just consistency missing somewhere,
Hmm.
usually. Um, and yeah, just 2 or 3 strokes. It's that simple. And I don't know, a lot of times when you think back, you can find 2 or 3 strokes.
Oh yeah, for sure. After the tournament, you're like that one hole. I
Yeah.
could go OB instead of inbounds, or
Yep. Well,
there's definitely
and that,
options.
oh, sorry.
No, you're good. I was just saying, there's definitely like there's always an option somewhere that could have been better.
Hmm. Yeah. And like you were saying, it gives you something to practice and it can show you where your flaws are.
Yeah, yeah.
If you're going out of bounds, 6 times and there's only OB on 4 holes, you got a problem.
That's true. That is
Yeah.
definitely true.
And so what keeps you grinding? What makes you get out there and practice?
Well, I guess one answer would be like, this is what I want to do as my job. Like, there's nothing else I want to do, but I've been practicing for so long up until now. Why would I stop?
Hmm.
Like, I have dedicated basically everything into this, so I don't see any other option. Like, that's how driven I am to do this. Is I'm putting nonstop. I'm even sitting on my couch at home thinking about my next tournament or next practice round. Like, yes, I still do get my responsibilities done or whatever, but at the end of the day, I'm thinking about disc golf and what to do to get better.
Hmm. Yeah. So what are you doing to get better?
Well, I'm trying to eat a little healthier, be a little healthier, stretching,
Yep.
which sounds like crazy. Like I'm only 25, but I feel like way older.
Sure. Well, being a skateboarder, you might be
Yeah,
able.
yeah, and drink more water, eat better food. That will equal out to not being as sore.
Has
But
have there has there been any diet changes that you've made? We
just
are
more water, honestly.
right. Yeah, water's huge. I started drinking a lot more water, and it's amazing. You feel it in your brain.
Did Arizona do that to you, or was that just natural?
No, I did it before, but
Oh, okay.
well, Arizona, yeah, if you don't have water, you fear death. So
Yeah.
that's a whole different thing. You almost, yeah, no, I
When
don't.
Broston messaged me and he's like, "Is this what it's like where you live, Caleb? There's no trees." And I'm like, basically, it's really hot and windy and no trees.
Yeah, except for the winter, then it gets super cold, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We do get snow.
Yeah,
I'm waiting for that day. I'm hoping it just doesn't happen so
yeah,
I can keep practicing.
yeah, yeah. And it seems like that's what it's all about right now. Just grinding, getting after it,
And it helps that the
and
tournament season's over.
and doing what?
It helps that the tournaments are slowing down.
Oh,
Now I
sure.
have time to focus more on practicing not basics, but like form and putting more than, all right, I'm practicing for this course this weekend, this course that next weekend. Because in the middle of tournament season, I'm only focused on the next Saturday as soon as I get back home
Mm-hmm.
and what am I going to have to throw.
Mm-hmm. Well, so being that you're coming into the cold season, how do you practice when it gets super cold out? And maybe even, you got inches or a foot or so of snow.
Well, for now, it's just not really snowy. It rains every now and then, but I've been still going and play around. go out and practice, but there is definitely Facebook video evidence of me putting in feet of snow outside my house because that is my favorite thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
Throwing slows down a little bit because I don't want to go looking in a snowbank for my disc.
Mm-hmm.
I used to walk across the street here, and the school would pave their parking lot, and I just take discs I did not care about just to throw them in the parking lot so I could find them, but work on form still too.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
it basically never stops.
Yeah. What do you love about putting?
So like people say I love shooting or like they like shooting hoops because it's when you're scoring. I mean, like the appeal of it's like, oh, shooting the basketball and scoring points. That's like where I'm scoring. That's cool. It's kind of the same thing for me in putting. Like that is where you score. And like I really like cornhole. I didn't know it was going to cross over at all, but I started with disc golf and then I picked up a cornhole bag, but I like putted it and I was like, oh, I think I see a connection now in between disc golf and cornhole, which was weird, but then I like putted my disc. I'm like, yeah, that is the same thing I do, but and it's not super strenuous on the body. Like throwing in a field all day can be tiresome.
Yeah, I agree. No, I putting's my favorite part of the game, so I can relate for sure.
Yeah, yeah. You don't gotta walk to go get your disc.
Right. Yeah, there's at least something to catch it for you.
Exactly.
You do it right, you're rewarded.
There's some tournaments I'll just throw my putters, and like everyone else is like throwing drivers. I'm like, I just don't want to walk. It's too early.
Yeah.
I'll get the blood flowing, but we'll save the driver for the round.
Yeah. Well, confidence boost.
Yeah, yeah. Like
What you're good at.
it's funny because the beginning of the season, I like threw a couple. This is the tree smack, so it's really cold in January, and my buddy's counting for me, and I threw 2 putter shots, and I like putted 4 times. He's like, "You're not gonna warm up more?" I'm like, "Dude, it's sleeting. I don't know, frozen, raining outside. Like, no, I need to stay dry as long as I can." But he asked me then, "Why did you even throw?" And I'm like, "Just so I know what it felt like to let go of the disc in front of me." Because like when it's cold out, grip locks, grip slips, like it all can happen. I just need that feeling of okay, I can get it out in front of me. We might have a chance today.
Yeah. Well, okay, that's a good way to deal with elements like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Let's say it's a super windy round or a super hot round, or I guess the answer would be specific to what those types of situations would be. But I guess how else would you prepare for, I guess, outside circumstances, something you can't control?
This recent Saturday we had a seat here in Tri Cities, and like I think it was a constant 38 mile per hour wind, and like I don't even call it real disc golf when it's that windy.
Mm-mm.
It's something else. I don't know what to call it, but it's not disc golf.
It's survival golf.
Exactly. Like
Certain times when certain elements just, yeah, it's survival golf.
this course, if you shoot 10 down when it's calm, it might not even be 1,000 rated. But
Okay.
for this tournament, I think 4 down or 3 down was 1,001.
Okay.
Blew all of our minds. Like whoa.
Mm-hmm.
But I just like I look at the weather. That's the number one thing I do. No matter where I'm going, I'm planning like it's gonna be windy. Bring all those overstable discs we got. It's gonna be wet. Bring all the towels I got. Extra umbrella. And like realizing that everyone has to play. I mean, like if it's a shotgun start, everyone's playing at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone has to play in it.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
me realizing this last tournament, like no one's gonna shoot like 14 under par in a round. I was thinking or preparing myself by I don't need to run this 90-foot headland putt with a cliff behind.
Mm-hmm.
Because I told my buddy, I was like, the number one thing I'm doing this first round is not digging myself a hole. And I had 16 pars and 2 birdies or something like that. Like, just okay under it, which hurts because I love putting, but there's times, I gotta be smart.
Yeah, changing your mindset when everything around you changes.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So I guess this is kind of getting back to the 1,000 rated and I guess all your other goals. But how do you manage being where you are in your skill and wanting to be further along? Does that make sense?
Yeah. So basically, how do I deal with like where I'm at right now, but where I want to be down the road?
Yeah. How do you not get ahead of yourself?
My honest answer, I really just I don't know. I don't try to think about it too hard. Does that makes sense? Like what I've been doing all this time's gotten me here. I think, you still do that same stuff, but like do it better, I guess, if that makes sense.
Sure.
At some point you'll get better.
Yeah, there you go. Immersed in the work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'm sensing a theme, and that was one of the main reasons that I wanted to get you on, was because I do see you're out there, right? You are traveling. I'm seeing you at most of the events. And I did ask if you'd gone east because I thought I've seen you just going over there down to Portland area.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, the farthest I went this year was the Whistler's Bend in
Okay.
Roseburg.
Yeah, that's a good map for you.
That was pretty. Like, I couldn't believe it. Like, it was in the middle of summer, so it was super hot and like the grass was dead. But just being somewhere else that wasn't the same course I played like last year was a great experience. I was like, wow, like these people have this in their backyard. That's pretty sweet. Like,
Mm-hmm. Well, and it's funny how you can take that for granted too, because I kind of did that when I left Washington. It was
that one time.
Yeah, the one time I left for a year. Yeah, but yeah, I realized that my least favorite course in my area would have been on the best course in my area. So yeah, and so going to different places and playing different courses, is that something that motivates you as well?
Yeah, and it helps because like the Pac X, it's at a whole bunch of different courses. So like I get to play them because I guess I have to, if that makes sense. Like I don't have to, but because I'm playing in this series thing, it's easy to get those points if you go to those tournaments.
Yep. Well, yeah, and on tour they use a bunch of different courses.
Yeah.
And
They're all like different. Like yes, you can be like this is a ball golf course, like this ball golf course, but it's still a different. Not all courses are the same, even if they're the same style.
mm-hmm. Yeah, well, and being able to travel and figure out a course in a short period of time, that's a skill in itself.
Kenny gave he was like, have you been to Tall Firs in Monroe?
Yes.
So like I'm like I said, I'll be sitting at home on the couch thinking about disc golf, fairway media, everything I can see on any course I'm going to on the west side. I'm looking for it on YouTube so I can see it with my eyes before I ever get there. And like going out to Tall Firs, I knew it's not heavily wooded, and like it's kind of like home. I would say, very open. And I played it, I think, twice before the tournament started. In the first round, I shot 10 down. I was happy. Like, I like to say you can't birdie them all, but some people do. Whatever. But the last round, I shot, I think, a 14 down.
Mm-hmm.
Kenny comes up to me and he's like, "This is like the fourth or fifth time you played this course, and you just did that." And I'm like, "Hey, man, this was practice is for." Granted, would I love to be there the whole week before a tournament just to play that course? Yes, but financially, that's not realistic for me.
Mm-hmm.
But Friday before, a couple days before, I like to get out there and see what I'm going to be competing on.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and being able to see it beforehand,
Yeah,
a huge plus. But have you ever? This happened to me. I went down and I played De La Viega a few years ago. Well, quite a few years ago now. But I watched footage, and there were a few holes that I thought I had figured out, and then I got to them, and they were just completely different.
That's one thing about camera. Like I watched this. It wasn't like a great quality video of kayak gold course, but like I got the gist that it was huge
Mm-hmm.
and up and down, but very huge. And like the first time we rolled up there for like kayak kickoff, I think it was the first tournament out there. We get up to hole one, and I'm like, wow, that small gray thing down there is where I'm trying to throw in one shot. That's nuts, right? But definitely a camera can do you dirty sometimes because like it's definitely most of the places are different in person.
Yeah, and they're not standing on the tee pad.
Yeah.
That's what I realized. I was like, oh, it's a little bit of a different angle.
Some of the like really easy par threes at tall curves on the front side, like watching these old videos of Kenny and Schuler and guys out there playing,
Mm-hmm.
it's just like grove of tiny trees by these baskets. And when I got out there were no trees, and I was like, whoa, like this made this hole way easier, and I haven't even played it yet.
Sure. Yeah. Little bonus before you even start. Sweet. Well, yeah, dude. Well, I think I got to figure out like what angle I got to come at this for or from. You know what I mean? Because the mental side of golf is huge. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Golf is a very mental game in itself. Any kind of golf you play.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, anytime you're trying to rely on yourself and, find your focus above distraction and, surf on positivity.
Yeah.
That's, you can go in lots of different directions to try and make that happen.
Well, when I first saw you ask me to do this, I was like, I mean, I guess I think about things mentally about disc golf,
Mm-hmm.
but like I feel like in the moment I'm not thinking about anything. So at first I was like, I'm just gonna go on here and tell Chris I just don't think when I play disc golf.
Well, that's it though. I think most people don't really when you're locked in and it's time to perform, and it's that little window of opportunity to perform, like you were talking, you're not really thinking.
Yeah.
It's more. It's zen. It's meditative.
I always tell my buddies like I'm more happy and like I could be 40 million gajillion over par, but I'm playing disc golf. I'm definitely happier doing that badly than having a great day, I don't know, mowing the grass or something like that. Right?
For sure. Or even you'll rolling up to a familiar course or a course you haven't been to for a while, and just the elation that you can feel just pulling up to a property.
The SeaTac.
SeaTac? Oh, dude, SeaTac does it to me too. Yeah, if I'm walking on the OG18, I'll just smile and skip a little bit, just because it's such a good spot.
That's why I always try to make so SeaTac, I guess that's what I call it, North SeaTac Park or whatever.
I just call it SeaTac. Yeah.
Yeah. But my first advanced tournament outside of Yakima was at SeaTac. We went the morning of, really early. Like we got there in the dark, the gate wasn't open. I get out and I'm looking at all these holes as much as I can because I've never been there before. My first round at SeaTac was during a tournament, completely blind, and I fell in love with how hard it was. I was like, holy smokes, I don't know, I was probably like 6 over through the first 10 holes I played. I'm like, this is the best disc golf course I've ever played.
Yeah, that's what made me fall in love with it too.
Yeah.
I remember. Yeah, I've been playing long enough I've been playing longer than that course has existed. And when it was first put in, all the rough was just blackberries.
Yeah. I'm seeing old shoes.
Yeah,
I'm like, SeaTac is scary.
Yeah, if you get off of the fairways in some spots, yeah, you had no way getting out of there. Yeah, it was a good. I don't know.
Now, was the OG 18 all par threes?
Yes, but no. Yeah, they were on the scorecard. They were par threes, but nobody. I don't think anybody's ever two'd. Well, maybe there's. No, I can't say that. But I don't think they're. Yeah, nobody's ever been in the circle for a 2 on, a handful of those holes.
No doubt. Granted, I've seen your son be in the circle on one of them.
Yeah. I think he's got a couple of them doing things I didn't think were possible. But
it's like, man, that makes it way easier if you just throw it down by the basket.
Right? You don't have to throw 3 times to get there.
1 hole less shot. Man.
Dang. Too easy.
That's another thing I've been really working on this off season is not like I'm lifting weights and like trying to get jacked or anything like that, but like getting stronger everywhere. And especially at the Doug Newland States this year. After the Northwest round, I was tied for the lead, which I was ecstatic. I was like, sweet. Fairway Media filmed it. This is going to be awesome. And then we went over to the new course, which is a little bit more open, a little bit farther. And I played with Colin Bryant and Carter.
Oh, sure.
And I was like, wow. I threw that as hard as I possibly could, and it's not even a halfway there.
And they threw a putter.
Yeah. Like, I took a birdie on a par 4 and lost a stroke to Carter, and I was like, wow. I had to throw 2 shots. He almost aced it in the air, and I'm throwing 2 shots to get there.
Yeah, but that's when you hit, a 78-footer in his face.
Yeah, exactly. You gotta give and take a little. Like, I might not throw the farthest, but I can putt pretty okay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, and distance can be improved. What are you doing anything to work on distance? Or just putting?
This is my theory. I wanted to get really good at putting. What did I do? I just putted and putted and putted. My mom would get annoyed with chain noises at midnight, but putting and putting and putting, and now I'm pretty okay at it. I'm humble about it, but I just figured, if I do that with driving, at some point it'll have to work. But I'm also watching other people throw, and not just throw, but like watching with intent. Like, how is his foot placed on this particular shot? How did he throw it 550 feet? Like, trying to just, I don't know, find the nitpicking, I guess, like in my form. Like, okay, Caleb, this looks super not fluent. It looks like robotic. That's not needed. We need a smooth motion. And like watching myself, another thing that I've been doing is like, all right, that looks goofy. Let's try to fix that. But also trying to only focus on one thing. Because if I try focusing on 14 different things, like Is my foot pointed the right way? Where's my other arm? Out here, back here, whatever. There's no way it'll ever get better.
Mhm.
At least in my eyes, like you gotta focus on one thing so you can intently work on that one thing.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, keep it simple, but yeah, there's always going to be another thing after that one thing.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Like
that gets back to kind of staying where you are instead of looking at where you want to be.
mhm.
So it seems like you've got a good ability to kind of be where you are and to just roll with it. And
I'm striving for better, but I'm not killing myself over it. You know what I mean? Like the world's not gonna end if I can't throw 500 feet tomorrow.
the aliens could invade and show up on your front lawn.
But you see, if it was a 30-foot putt, I'm picking me anytime.
There you go.
So if I had to throw it far, Boston, harder, someone a little younger and throws it farther.
Yep. Yeah, yeah, and there's always things to improve. Yeah, definitely. Well, sweet, Caleb. I appreciate you. I knew I would run into people that were just like I just throw. You know what I mean? Because that's easy. That's kind of what we do. We just grab a frisbee and you throw it. That's it. You're playing catch with a basket, or you're
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
or whatever. It really is that simple. And if there's nothing in the way of doing that, then dude, get after it for sure. And yeah, just keep riding that positivity because that is where it's at.
I just don't. I don't want to be that guy that makes everyone else feel awkward.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I just don't think people play good when they are angry.
For sure. Well, yeah.
I mean, some people get like I don't know,
Mm-hmm.
basically like they take that anger and like I'm gonna smash the next 380-footers in your face.
Sure.
But that's something different.
Yeah.
Like you keep that to yourself, like haha. But I don't know. I just think being positive, think positive, shoot negative.
There you go. There you go. Put it on a shirt. Let's go. All right. Well, yeah. Well, thank you. Appreciate you coming out.
Thank you, Mr. Wall.
So yeah, hit me up when you want to play.
Are you in Arizona right now?
No, I'm back. I'm in Washington.
Oh, I was wondering. It said lessons with the Pacific Northwest legend Chris Waugh.
Yeah, Flexline did that. Yeah. So
I was like, is this all over Zoom at the course?
yeah, I'm gonna travel up. They're paying for airfare.
Nice.
No, I'm back up here. I'm in Puyallup, so kind of close to Riverside and in between Riverside and Stilley.
I finally played Riverside this year.
Yeah, that's my home.
I was like, wow. I see why some of these fellas are good at throwing it straight.
Yeah, you have to. Slight turn to the right, maybe.
Yep. I saw a lot of Kyle Crabtree holes.
Yep.
I was like, oh, that's why there's a comet in his bag. I get it now.
Yeah. Well, no. Well, he showed up and just immediately shredded it. Yeah, that place is not Crabtree proof from the get go. Sweet. All right, on. Well, appreciate it. Have yourself a great night.
You as well. Later.
See you. Thanks for watching or listening to the MindSide. Episode 9 coming soon will feature Kai Kim.